Today we're talking about thumbnails. And if your videos are getting shown but people aren't picking them, you need better thumbnails. Most fishing creators try to fix that by making the image look nicer. But nice doesn't pull the click. A clean photo doesn't guarantee it. A big bass doesn't guarantee it. Some text doesn't guarantee it. Because the job of a thumbnail isn't just to look good. It's to make the right viewer stop and want to know more. Welcome to the Fishing Channel Lab, where I analyze what the biggest YouTube educators are teaching and apply it to fishing creators just like you. So let's break down why some thumbnails get clicked, why others get skipped, and the 3 things your thumbnail has to do before a viewer ever chooses your video. Because most fishing creators are still thinking about thumbnails like a picture. A nice shot, a big bass, a clean kayak, a pretty sunrise. And on its own, none of that sounds wrong. That's what makes this so easy to miss. Because a lot of bad thumbnails don't look bad at first. They look fine. They look clean. They look like they should work. But should work and gets clicked are not the same thing. A thumbnail isn't there to show what happened. It's there to make the right viewer need to know more. That's a big difference. One documents, the other hunts. One says, here's what was in the video. The other says, you should not scroll past this. And that second job is the one that matters first. Because before anyone can watch your video, they have to pick it. And if your thumbnail only documents the video, it may be accurate. It may even look good. But it won't do its real job because YouTube isn't rewarding the prettiest image. It's rewarding the package that gets the click from the right person. And that last part matters more than most people realize. From the right person. Not just any click, not just random traffic, not just a view that never turns into anything. The right person is the one who is most likely to want that video before they even press play. That means your thumbnail has to win 3 moments, in order. First, it has to stop the scroll. Second, it has to help the title feel valuable. And third, it has to confirm that the promise is real. And if you really think about it, about how people browse YouTube, this order makes sense. They don't study your video first, they react to it. The image catches their eye. The title shapes the opportunity. And then their brain makes a fast decision about whether to trust it. All of that happens in seconds. If you miss the first one, they never see the title. If you miss the second one, they don't care enough. If you miss the third one, they don't trust it. And that's why so many fishing creators get stuck. They think the problem is, my thumbnail needs to look better. No. The problem is your thumbnail isn't walking the viewer through the decision. It isn't leading their attention. It isn't focusing their curiosity. It isn't making the choice easier. So let's break that down. Step 1 is the stop. This is the part most fishing creators misunderstand first. They think stopping the scroll means adding more. More text, arrows, circles, lures, faces, more everything. Because in their head, more signal must mean more attention. But that's usually not what happens. When you add too much, the viewer doesn't know where to look first. And when the eye doesn't know where to land, it keeps moving. But a thumbnail is a lot more like a lure in dirty water. If the signal isn't clean, the fish never even sees it. The scroll stop doesn't come from clutter. It comes from clarity with contrast. One thing has to win the frame. One thing has to be understood fast. One thing has to create the pattern break. That doesn't mean the whole image has to be simple. It means the main idea has to be simple. The viewer should know what they're supposed to notice almost immediately. That could be a face, a fish, an object. That could be a visual problem. but it can't be 5 main things all fighting each other. If everything is loud, nothing is loud. If everything is important, nothing is important. A lot of fishing thumbnails fail right here because they look too normal. Man holding fish, side angle, outdoor background, maybe some text on top. And again, that doesn't mean it looks bad. It means it looks familiar. And familiar is dangerous when you're trying to interrupt a feed. That's not a pattern break. That's the pattern. And if your image looks like what the viewer has already scrolled past 100 times, why would they stop on yours? That doesn't mean you need to get weird for no reason. It means you need a clear visual idea. Something distinct. Something easy to read. Something that makes the thumbnail feel different before the viewer fully processes why. A thumbnail should feel more like a sharp hook set than a cast into open water. Fast, direct, and unmistakable. Now, once you win that first moment, the viewer drops to the title. This is where most packaging breaks apart because the thumbnail gets attention, but the title didn't build desire. And this is where a lot of fishing creators write the title wrong. They label the video instead of selling the outcome. Spring bass fishing on a chatterbait, kayak fishing a new lake, bank fishing with a jig. Those may be true, they may even be clear, but clear isn't always compelling. Truth alone doesn't create urgency. The viewer isn't asking, is this accurate? They're asking, why should I care? That's the game. Your title has to open a loop. A problem, a mistake, result, surprise, shift, threat. Something that makes the viewer feel that watching this video moves them closer to what they want. They could mean a better result, a faster fix, mistake to avoid, secret they missed, a reason their current approach isn't working. The title doesn't have to explain the whole video, it just has to make the video feel worth choosing. For fishing creators, this gets even more important because a lot of you aren't just fighting for clicks, you're fighting to attract the right kind of viewer. Not just people who like fishing, people who like your kind of fishing. Your style, your water, your problems, your skill level, your format. And that matters because a click from the wrong person can look good at first, but it often dies fast. They click for a different reason. They expect a different video. They leave fast. They watch shorter. They don't come back. So if your thumbnail says one thing, but your title pulls in a different kind of curiosity, you're baiting one fish and hooking another. That creates a mess fast. The click might come, but the match won't. And now we get to the third moment, the trust check. This is the part almost nobody talks about. After the viewer sees the image and reads the title, they look back one more time. Fast, but subconsciously. And they ask, do I believe this? Not out loud, not slowly, but that question is still happening. Because the viewer is trying to decide if the promise feels real or if it feels cheap. And that's where visual validation matters. The thumbnail has to support the title, not repeat it, but support it. If the title says there's a big mistake, the image should feel like tension, confusion, or a consequence. If the title says there's a breakthrough, the image should feel like discovery, proof, or an unexpected result. That image should make the title feel more believable, more specific, more real, more worth the click. But what a lot of creators do is they just type the title onto the thumbnail in different words. That's weak. That's not teamwork. It wastes space you should have used to make the idea stronger. Title and thumbnail should work together like rod and reel. Two different jobs, but one system. The title creates the value, the thumbnail creates the belief. And if the image doesn't feel believable, or if the emotion doesn't match the promise, Or if the main idea is too small to read at mobile size, the viewer feels friction. And friction kills clicks. This is why a beautiful thumbnail can still fail. It was designed to look good, not to make a decision easy. That's a hard truth, but it's the right one. Now here's another thing fishing creators do that hurts them. They fall in love with the photo. They had a great day. They caught a big fish. They got a clean shot. The water looked great. The sunset was perfect. So they build the thumbnail around what they're proud of, instead of what the viewer would click. Those are not always the same thing. And that part can be hard to accept, because you were there. You felt the day. You know why that moment mattered. But the viewer wasn't there. They don't feel what you felt. They only see what's on the screen. And sometimes the best memory isn't the best package. Sometimes the cleanest photo isn't the strongest idea. Sometimes the biggest fish isn't the real hook. Because the viewer isn't clicking to reward you, they're clicking to reward themselves. They want a result, a surprise, an answer, a shift. A feeling that this video might give them something worth getting. That's why thumbnail thinking has to start earlier. Not after the video, but before it. You should know what the click idea is before you even shoot, before you edit, before you write the title. Because if you don't know what the packaging hook is, you're just hoping something in the footage can save it later. And hope is a terrible packaging strategy. And that's like going out without checking the weather conditions and hoping the fish just bail you out. Now the last thing. Stop trusting your first thumbnail idea. This part matters more than most people think, because a lot of creators make one version. They stare at it. They move one thing around and call that testing. That's not testing, that's decorating. Real testing means different ideas, different visual, different main objects, different emotional reads, different levels of tension, different curiosity paths. Not small changes around the same thought, actual different thoughts. Because the first idea is often just the most obvious one. And obvious is rarely what creates the best scroll stop. You don't need 20 versions, but you need options. Options give you range. Range gives you comparison. Comparison helps you see what the first version was missing. So if your fishing videos aren't getting clicked the way that they should, don't just ask, does this look good? Ask 3 questions. Does it stop? Does it build value with the title? And does it confirm the promise? Because if the answer isn't yes to all 3 of those, your thumbnail isn't finished yet. And here's your one action step. Pick your last 3 thumbnails and grade each one on those 3 checks. Stop, value, and validation. And then find the one stage you keep losing. Not the one you think you're losing, the one that keeps showing up when you look at the last few packages honestly. That matters for fishing creators because your channel doesn't grow when you just get better at editing. It grows when more of the right people choose your video. And this gives you a clean way to see why they aren't.